scores, Apgar scored 8 of her 12 points in less than 2 minutes in a district win versus Linden Hall. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Ray Jensen.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com.
Golfers, Briarwood is now accepting registrations for the 2016 Evening Golf League season. The Monday through Friday evening leagues consist of two-player teams playing against teams of similar abilities with handicaps. Friday evening offers a two-player scramble league with a separate couples division played in a fun, relaxed atmosphere. Regular season matches begin the week of April 4th and continue through the middle of August with playoffs immediately following. Leagues start play at 5:30 with a shotgun start. Briarwood Leagues offer the most course variety with 4 different nines at Briarwood East and West. Briarwood has over 25 years of experience running leagues providing fun and enjoyment for all golfers. Before your round, warm up on Briarwood's driving range. After play, relax with friends and enjoy yourself at the Briar Patch Sports Bar. Check out the new and used equipment to improve your game at our well-stocked discount pro shop. Briarwood's PGA professionals will fit you to a T. Join the fun. Call 792-9776 to register your team for the area's best golf leagues at Briarwood. Or check us out on the web at briarwoodgolfclubs.com.
Money and business are essential to the strength of a community. So is cheering and celebration and music and fun. That's why York Revolution games, concerts, youth sports, special events, and more happen at a place called People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving you 150 years. Always cheering, always celebrating, always committed to the things that make York County great. And to you having a great time at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's Championship Thursday, presented by Wellspan Sports Medicine. The York Catholic girls go for an unprecedented 11th straight District 3 AA title tonight at 6 in a rematch of last year's 63-57 thriller with Camp Hill. Then the Eastern boys, fresh off their upset of top seed Milton Hershey, take on Bishop McDevitt for AAA gold. I'm Ron Ruman. Andy Bria and I have all the action courtside from the Giant Center in Hershey. If you can't be there, be here for Championship Thursday on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Hi, it's The Herd. When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
Now back to The Herd.
Welcome back. It's The Herd. Phone number 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570. We're in beautiful Burbank today, Burbank, California. Christine Leahy, generally when we do radio, I'm in a hoodie, and Christine generally comes in sweats. Today she's all dolled up because apparently she's going to some big show in Los Angeles, some swanky deal right after the show, I take it.
Yeah, I'm going to see Elton John. It's kind of a secret where, but I'm going to see Elton John today.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's a little dolled up today for radio. Because when you work at radio stations, and I did for, most of my life, for the first 20 years before you started simulcasting radio shows, I can remember the first radio show I ever worked at. True story. So I go, and it was in Portland, Oregon, because I'd been a local TV guy, and I got a job doing some radio, right? And it was my second job actually in radio, but my first full-time, paid money radio gig. And there was a refrigerator. And outside of Jeffrey Dahmer's refrigerator that had, heads in it, it was the most less hygienic, dirtiest, filthiest thing I'd ever seen. And I opened it up. It was like my second day on the job, and I opened up the refrigerator. And it smelled like dead cats. And I thought to myself, this is disgusting. And over the course of the day, everybody came in and grabbed their lunch from this refrigerator. And that's when I realized radio is different. And when you walk into local radio stations, you're just hoping people wear shoes. So Christine this morning walks in and is a power broker. Let's just leave it at that. She's dressed like a model, and at radio stations, that certainly sticks out. Now, last night, JT and the Brick, radio host, Fox Sports Radio, had longtime boxing promoter Bob Arum on his show. And he asked him about Donald Trump. Just kind of, hey, what do you think of Donald Trump? Here's what Bob Arum, legendary boxing promoter, had to say about Donald Trump.
This man is a clown. There is no conceivable way that anybody should consider him for an office as important as President of the United States. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan would be turning in their grave.
You know, I was thinking about this, and the truth is Bernie Sanders, a socialist, gained real momentum, and Donald Trump, whose wife was sitting in a gold-plated room on MSNBC yesterday saying how normal she was, has gained real traction. A socialist from a small state and a real estate billionaire whose wife sat in a gold-plated room and said, we're just normal people. And I think it speaks to how few elite candidates want to run for president. We've had a wacky Dr. Ben Carson, a former failed CEO. Mike Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, is totally qualified, but he's having to be prodded to even considering a run because there's a lot more money and a lot less scrutiny in the private sector. And I see this all the time with football coaches in the NFL. Nick Saban would be a great coach. Jim Harbaugh was a great coach. John Gruden would succeed. Urban Meyer would. But college or television, less scrutiny, same money, or more money. Look at some of the NFL candidates. It's either retreads like Mike Mularkey, who have failed before, or kids like Adam Gase, who have never been a head coach even at the high school level. Why? Because the NFL coaching experience can be a miserable life. It is massive stress, massive heat, and massive scrutiny. And if you look right now what's happening, Bernie Sanders, a socialist, and Donald Trump, a real estate mogul, have gained massive traction because look at what's out there. A lot of really good candidates want no part of it. Mitt Romney gave it a run, wants no part of it. Jeb Bush, his heart was never in it. He didn't want to be in it. So it's doctors, socialists, real estate moguls, failed CEOs. A couple years ago, we had a guy used to run a pizza chain. Godfather's CEO. What? I've run a pizza chain. I'd like to run America. Okie dokie artichoke. That doesn't sound right to me. I mean, you look at some of these NFL coaching hires. It's amazing. You've never been a head coach at high school, never been a head coach at college. You're going to run the Miami Dolphins. What? Television analyst football jobs? Pay a lot of money? Less scrutiny. Maybe a television critic bashes you. Who cares? College coaching? Fewer games? You control the personnel? Less scrutiny. Small market? You control the media, Nick Saban. So I think anytime you have massive heat and massive scrutiny and the quality of life can suffer, I think the candidates go down. I think that's what we have here. We just don't have very good candidates this point forward for President of the United States. 1 down, 2 to go. It's the herd. Man, I am glad I'm not in management. Meeting after meeting after meeting. I walk by meetings and I get hives. But the once or twice or 3 times a year I've got to be in meetings, make them fast, make them work for you. How about make them work online? You can do that with GoToMeeting. It makes it easy to meet with your team or others, and you don't have to be there. With GoToMeeting, you can meet from any computer, tablet, or smartphone. No travel expenses, no hassle, no hives. You can join by clicking a link. No signups, no speed bumps. Turn on your webcam and HD quality. It's like being in the room. GoToMeeting.com. Share the screens to present, to get feedback in real time. Everybody sees what you're seeing, so everybody in the meeting, your team, can get on the same page and get going. Sign up now. GoToMeeting. Free for 30 days. Nothing to lose. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, do it now, and have your first meeting up and running in minutes. That's GoToMeeting.com for your free 30-day trial. Hi, it's the herd. Ask your wife or girlfriend what she thinks about your old, worn-out, multi-pack underwear, and she'll tell you, time for an upgrade, partner. That's where Tommy John comes in. This is the next generation of men's underwear. I've never felt anything like it. I'm talking life-changing comfort backed by their best pair you'll ever wear, or its free guarantee. Use what I use, wear what I wear. Tommy John, no adjustment needed. Use the promo code HERD at TommyJohn.com now. Save 20% in your first order. TommyJohn.com, promo code HERD.
Spring savings are in full bloom right now at Lowe's, where you'll find great deals on everything you need to get your home in shape for the season. So hurry into your neighborhood store today to save big on all of your spring home improvement needs, like 15% off all Style Selections laminate flooring. Make your home shine all season long with great brands at great prices right now at Lowe's. Valid 2/24 through 2/29 while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See associate for details. Available by special order express in some locations. Selection may vary by location. See store for details and exclusions. U.S. only.
The Still Meadow 3-on-3 basketball tournament held on March 19th at Central York Middle School is the perfect event for individuals of all ages to showcase their basketball skills. This round-robin/pool play format tournament allows up to 4 players per team and features many divisions for both male and female players, from 4th, 5th, and 6th grade up to divisions. Each team is guaranteed at least 3 games, and championship t-shirts will be provided to winners of each division. Tournament check-in is from 8 to 8:30 on the morning of March 19th. Games will begin play at 9 a.m. $5 per team, and the deadline for registration is March 5th. Questions about registration or tournament details can be sent via email to stillmeadow3on3@gmail.com. That's stillmeadow3on3@gmail.com. All proceeds from the tournament will go to the Still Meadow Church of the Nazarene.
GameTimePA.com is your home for local high school sports. Log on for all the scores, stats, photos, and more, plus live stream coverage of the area's can't-miss matchups all season long. Stay in the game no matter where you are with the free GameTime PA app. Download it directly to your iPhone or Android and get all the GameTime features you love when you're on the go. Available at the iPhone App Store, Android Market, and, of course, GameTimePA.com.
Come out to Line Bowl and Red Line and check out their weekend specials. Friday from 9 till 11:30, unlimited bowling and all the pizza you can eat for one low price. Saturday from 9 till 11:30, it's Glow Bowling. Unlimited bowling with lights and music. Line Bowl, located at the corner of Pine and Martin Streets near Red Line High School. For information, call Line Bowl at 244-6215.
Penn State York. Great faculty, small classes, personal attention. Even if you're not sure what you want to do, Penn State York can help you choose the class, the course, the program, the certificate, seminar, or degree you want. Penn State York offers 9 4-year bachelor degrees you can complete without leaving the area. There are also 7 associate degrees. You can also begin the first 2 years of more than 160 Penn State majors right here in York. No matter what class you take, the national reputation of Penn State will follow you throughout your career. Call Penn State York for a brochure. 771-4040. That's 771-4040.
Your only local sports station. The new Sports Radio 1350. WOYK, York, Pennsylvania.
Let's go! Let's get this! Let's go!
I'm Deb Carson. The media conference is set to get underway at any moment, but Tennessee Athletic Director Dave Hart is among those expected to address the media. He'll discuss allegations brought against the school by a recently filed federal lawsuit. The university is accused of creating a culture that, among other things, has enabled sexual assaults by student athletes. In NFL news, while the Cleveland Browns seem set to part ways with quarterback Johnny Manziel, they feel differently about suspended receiver Josh Gordon. Browns Executive VP of Football Operations, Sachi Brown, says that while the talented receiver has made mistakes, he's been accountable for them, and that if Gordon is indeed reinstated by the NFL, there will be a spot on the Browns roster for him. The Ravens will report.
Broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios, this is York's local sports show. Talking local sports on York's local sports station. Welcome to Game Day with GameTime PA on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome in to Game Day with GameTime PA. It's a Hanover Takeover edition here. I'm here with Matt Alabone. I'm Zach Miller. We are the Hanover reporters, Brandon Stoneberg, Christian Arnold, Teddy Feinberg, who are here. Sometimes they're all up at the Giant Center today for some big basketball games. So here we go. It's a Hanover edition, but that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about some of the York teams. We still know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and those guys are pretty lucky. They're going to see some great games tonight, but I'm very excited to be here. It's we haven't been on the radio together yet, so.
No, I don't think we have. We kind of, we're out in Hanover, 40 minutes away.
Right.
We kind of alternate. I'll come, Matt will come, but yeah, we're both here today, and we're all alone, so I'm excited about it.
So am I.
And for those of you that don't know, our birthdays are back-to-back days. Last week, Matt was on the 19th, I was on the 20th. So, Matt, how was your birthday? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, I saw DeLone Catholic girls basketball beat Linden Hall, so that was incredibly fun. But yeah, it was a normal work day. Just do what we always do, covered some sports. I know you had a much busier birthday even the next day, too.
Yeah, I mean, work day as well. I was at the Section 1 wrestling meet for Class A. All day. I got there at 9 a.m. to Susquehanna High School. Didn't leave till after 9 o'clock p.m. So busy day of wrestling on my birthday, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly. And of course, Brandon Stoneberg, his birthday is the 18th, and I know he woke up on his birthday to the news that Troy Sowers had just resigned at York High. So that was how he spent his birthday. So it was kind of busy birthdays all around for the Game Time PA crew.
3 straight birthday days, and this time of year it's always busy. Let's talk about our game balls. Who do you got this week, Matt?
I got 2. The first one's obvious. Jared Wagner from Central York. Big game, 23 points against Spring Grove in the district semifinals at the Giant Center on Tuesday. But more importantly, he had the game-winning tip-in. 11 seconds left in OT. Central's down 51-50. He drives to the hole, puts up a shot, misses it, and manages to get his own rebound and just tips it in one motion with 2 seconds left. Huge play.
So he got his own rebound.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw the video and I saw him get the putback, but it was so cluttered up with people going for the ball. I didn't even realize that he was the one that put the shot up and he was the one that got the putback.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, the rebound shot was one motion, which is cool because he's not even that tall of a kid, and he still jumped up, got his hand on it, and just threw it back in. So great play by him. They win 52-51. Them and Spring Grove just had a great series this year. Central York beat them 53-50 the first 2 times. Then obviously Spring Grove beat them 42-36 in the York title game. They meet for a 4th time in districts, and Central barely edges them. So 2 really evenly matched teams. That was a great game.
And so they each went 2-2.
No. Central won the series 3-1.
Oh,
they won
3-1.
both regular season matchups by the same score. Spring Grove barely edged them in the title game in the York playoffs.
And
then Central got them again in districts.
All right. So
but I think the series in 4 games, if you add up all the scores, Central won 194 to 193.
Yeah, those are definitely some good games, for sure.
And
any other game balls?
Second one goes to Devin Ringler of Gettysburg. He's their big man, their center over there. They beat Cacalico 42-23. I didn't say that score wrong. 42-23 on Monday in the District 6th place game. They go to states. Devin Ringler is more the defender rebound guy, but he had 14 points, 11 in the first half. Really, he gave them a lead early, and then from that point on, they kind of just played keep away because Cacalico couldn't hit a shot. Save their lives.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the basketball, boys and girls, coming up later in the show. But what was the score in the third quarter of that game? I couldn't believe it.
It was 29-3 going into the fourth. It was 33-3 with about 4 minutes left. And then Cacalico, once the subs all got in, they hit a few shots and made it.
I don't know if I've ever seen 3 points in the second half in my life.
No, it was
single digits. I don't think I've even seen.
I mean, it was weird because, for one hand, I wanted to see Gettysburg kind of finish it off and keep them in single digits. But I also felt bad for the Cacalico kids because especially for their seniors, it was their last game. You don't want to see them get embarrassed. So it was kind of nice for them to actually make it a little more respectable. But we
actually had a shutout in the York Adams area in 2005. Did you know that?
No.
New Oxford girls shutout. I believe it was Christian School of York 55-0. You should look that story up. It's an interesting one for sure.
And what about you? Who are your game balls?
I got 2 wrestlers. I figure you bring the basketball, I'll bring the wrestling. I got one for New Oxford. He's a 120-pounder, Zurich Storm, and Kenner Dale's 126-pounder, Michael Bracey. Both these guys finished off undefeated regular seasons and kept going at sectionals, both winning sectional titles. So they're going into districts, which is this weekend, having not lost a match the entire season. So, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but props to both of those guys for getting through without losing.
That's got to be so much pressure, too. You got to think sometimes these wrestlers, no one ever wants to lose, but if you lose like one in the regular season, it takes some pressure off when you get to the postseason that you don't have to deal with just not only competing for district titles, but also the whole undefeated record thing.
Right, because you're going to see a lot of wrestlers you haven't seen all season and they haven't seen you, and they're going to look at the bracket, yesterday and today and say, oh, this kid's undefeated.
Motivation.
And, but maybe it scares them a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, this kid's undefeated. I don't know if I can beat him. Thing about Bracey, though, he totally flew under the radar.
Okay.
Maybe not so much in York, but at least, out in Hanover, I didn't know there was a kid from Kennerdale with an undefeated record. And he beat Derek Wilson, who's a senior at Southwestern, who took 5th last year at States.
Wow.
And he beat Derek in the final over the weekend. That was at Southwestern, too. So that was a really surprising result. I'm excited to see him for the first time when I'm at districts on tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah, good luck to those guys.
I'll also give one more game ball. Joe Picatis from Gettysburg. He missed a lot of the year with an injury. He won Gettysburg's first sectional title in quite a while. I believe it was 2010. Christian had a story on that one. You can look that one up on GameTimePA.com. Now let's go into our athletes of the week. Speaking of Mr. Picatis, he's actually our boys' athlete of the week winner for his title at 132 pounds in sectionals. Some of the other nominees this week: Brogan Nicholas from Eastern York. He had a big night last Friday, scoring 25 points to beat Elko. Eastern won by 1. They're in the district championship game today, having a really, really awesome run that we're excited about. Bryce Mondor from Delone, who Matt's pretty familiar with, he scored 25 to help Delone Catholic get by Antietam in the first round last week. Wagner, just like Matt mentioned, 28 points last week against Hempfield. Dylan Chatterton is another wrestler. He's from Central York. He won the 145-pound title. He's a 4-time sectional champion.
Wow.
He's had quite the career here. And Austin Claybaugh, who came in second in the voting, he won a sectional title. This is his second career title. He won back 2014 also. He pinned Jalen Hankerson again, this time with 6 seconds left in the third period.
That was crazy. I was actually going up to Upper Dauphin to cover Upper Dauphin Hanover, and I just pulled into the parking lot to go on Twitter, and I see Zach, you periscoping the match. So that was a crazy match. Pinned him with, like you said, a couple seconds left.
6 seconds left, and he had been down most of the match. Even if he didn't get the pin there, though, the back points were going to give him the win, but battled back again. He pinned Hankerson twice this year. Also won by decision that time you were there. So, we've been at all 3 of those big matchups. I don't know, but we might get to see another one for districts.
Yes, I've only seen Hankerson when he loses the clay ball. So everyone says he's great, and I'm sure his record speaks for itself. But
yeah, we don't cover Boiling Springs, but I remember his state run last year. And his district championship. He's a pretty darn good wrestler. Our girls' athlete of the week, I won't reveal the winner this time until the end. I won't ruin it. Kate Bayhoff from York Catholic. She scored 14 points to beat Ole Valley last week. I believe she had a 41-point game.
She definitely did,
this week against Wyomissing, I think.
So, yeah.
So York Catholic, another team that's going to be playing for a title. They play tonight. Ashley Stone from Susquehanna also nominated. She scored 17 points as the Warriors lost to Elko last Wednesday. Courtney Demaw from Red Lion, she seems to be on this list all the time. She scored 22, and Red Lion lost to Cedar Crest. Red Lion's still alive, playing Central this weekend for a spot in state. Speaking of Central, Nixon Valenchik, I hope I'm saying that correctly, scored 19 points in a win against Wilson. And Katie Apgar from Delone Catholic, who's not typically one of the Squirettes big scorers. I think this is the game you were at on your birthday. She scored 12 against Linden Hall in an absolute blowout.
Yeah, and she actually had 10 in the first half, and 8 came in about 90 seconds. Like, they went to her 4 straight possessions, and she just hit buckets in the post every time, which is really just fun to see because they don't go to her a lot, and it seemed like she couldn't miss for a couple straight possessions.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a coming out game for her, and she's actually our girls' athlete of the week.
Congratulations.
Yep, we got a lot to get to today, a lot of big matchups, a lot of big wrestling. We're going to talk about boys basketball in the next segment, but we're going to have plenty coming from girls basketball and wrestling. We're on here from 4 to 5 here on GameTimePA.com. No show on WOYK today, and we will see you after the break.
It's Championship Thursday, presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. The York Catholic girls go for an unprecedented 11th straight District 3 AA title tonight at 6 in a rematch of last year's 63-57 thriller with Camp Hill. Then the Eastern boys, fresh off their upset of top seed Milton Hershey, take on Bishop McDevitt for AAA gold. I'm Ron Ruman. Andy Bria and I have all the action courtside from the Giant Center at Hershey. If you can't be there, be here for Championship Thursday on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Waking up with the Steve Zabin Show.
And we've got a Breathe Right strip controversy now heading into the Belmont. How come nobody in the annals of horse racing history thought to define whether or not you can wear a horsey Breathe Right strip? Isn't this the equivalent of a hood scoop on a car?
Your quarter panels are up 1/8 of an inch higher than mine. That allows for a little aerodynamic mess underneath the vehicle.
Join me, Steve Zabin, mornings at 6 on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Looking for something cool to do this weekend? Come to the coolest place in town and learn to play hockey or figure skate at the York Ice Arena. The York Ice Arena offers a Learn to Skate program for skaters of all ages and abilities, directed by ISA and USFSA qualified instructors. Skating classes range from beginner to freestyle. Hockey classes cover the basics of the game. All classes include free skate rental and 5 free skating passes, so you can try out your new skills. And remember, the coolest place in town is also available for the coolest birthday party in town. Host your birthday bash in group spaces or with a private ice rental. Public skating at York Ice Arena is available afternoons, evenings, and weekends. Skate for just $7 and rent your skates for just $3. Plus, you can save with discount passbooks. Oh, and ask about gift cards and kids' prepaid debit cards. So if you're looking to learn something cool, come to the coolest place in town and learn to skate at the York Ice Arena. For more information and to register, go to yorkskate.com.
Welcome to today's York College Spartan Sports Scoreboard, brought to you by OSS Health. The women's basketball team won a thriller to open the CAC tournament on Tuesday night. Katie Wagner provided the game-winning basket with 11.2 seconds left. Wagner turns and drives off the glass, and it's good! 10 seconds left! 54-52 York! Katie Wagner gives York the lead! The Spartans would finish it with a defensive stop. Alvanos into McLaughlin, forced it off the glass, rebound Keating, and that's it! And advancing to Thursday night's semifinals at Marymount. We'll have the webcast on WOYK1350.com beginning at 6 p.m. Women's lacrosse hosts Franklin and Marshall on Wednesday at 3:30. That's your Spartan Sports Scoreboard, brought to you by OSS Health. Orthopedic experience you can trust. Visit online at OSSHealth.com.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Joseph Picatus of Gettysburg Wrestling. The sophomore won the 132-pound title at Saturday's Section 5 AAA tournament, becoming the first Warrior wrestler to win a title since 2010. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Katie Apgar of Lone Catholic Basketball. Not typically one of the Squirettes' top scorers, Apgar scored 8 of her 12 points in less than 2 minutes in a district win versus Linden Hall. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Ray Jensen.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com.
At Northwestern Mutual, we take a disciplined and balanced approach to financial planning. Together, we'll help build your financial future on time-tested principles, not market trends, so you can take advantage of life's opportunities. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Red Lion Boys basketball coach Steve Schmale. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
We're back on Game Day with GameTime PA. We got a lot of boys basketball to talk about here. A lot of teams doing well in districts really is what it comes down to. A lot of teams going to states. We're going to start. I mean, how could we not start here? Central York against Spring Grove the other day. Matt was there. Matt was part of a big GameTime PA team that we had there. Matt, what did you see? What was the biggest difference between when these two teams played in the York Adams Championship versus their district game?
Actually, very big difference, because in the York Adams Championship, both teams came out so cold from the field. It was an 18-12 halftime game, which is not what you think out of two high-scoring, very good Division I teams. And really, it was, I think, 27-21 going into the fourth until
it was a lot lower scoring game for sure.
Yeah, until Eli Brooks got hot late and kind of just turned the game around, and Central had no answer for him. This time around, both teams start off great. Jared Wagner and Eli Brooks, probably the two best players in the whole league, are going at it. Brooks had 13 at halftime, Wagner had 18 at halftime, and it's 31-29 Central at half. So it was a really high-scoring first half. And in the second half, things kind of cooled off. No one was hitting a lot of shots, but Central takes an 8-point lead into the fourth quarter, and then Wagner gets his fourth foul. He has to spend most of the fourth quarter on the bench. And Central actually only scored 1 point in the fourth quarter. So they were just hanging on for dear life. Spring Grove finally ties it up at the end. And Wagner, they put him back in with a couple seconds left in the fourth quarter. And they have like 2 seconds left, one last second shot. And he throws up a half-court shot and just misses it, hits the rim.
That would have been
close,
something.
He was close to winning it right there. And then, of course, like we said earlier, he wins it in overtime with a great putback. But it was a crazy game. I mean, the second half moved a little bit slower than the first half did, but props to Darren Gordon of Spring Grove. He's kind of been the shadow of Eli Brooks all year, but a really good player. He's going to York College next year. He only had 4 points and fouled out of the York Adams Championship, and he scores 19 in this game, and had actually the shot with about 30 seconds left to put Spring Grove up 51-50. So he would have been the hero if Jared Wagner doesn't have a crazy tip-in play. So you got to give him a lot of credit. Now he doesn't feel happy because they lost, but it's still a great performance by him.
Yeah, it seems like the stars have shown up in these big district games for sure. I got to ask you, how's the Giant Center for basketball? I've been there for wrestling. I mean, I thought it was pretty nice. How's the experience there for a basketball
I liked
game?
it a lot because they had us the media row was right near the court, so it was still like when we watch a regular season game, we sit behind the scorekeeper. It was that same experience, but in a huge arena.
Right.
And I thought one of the disadvantages is that it's such a big arena, so how are they going to fill it up? Will you get a good atmosphere? And they actually gave it a pretty good atmosphere. Central and Spring Grove both showed up pretty well. Not that it was like every seat was filled, but they had very good attendance. The crowds were going crazy, so it was a very fun time.
Yeah, good. I mean, those are both some pretty good fan bases.
Definitely.
Spring Grove, I know, travels well. Central, I think, does as well. So, I almost wish they would get to play again in states. I don't even know if that's possible.
I think it is possible, depending on where they get seated. But and definitely Central York's fan base at the end was going crazy. Wagner, after he hits his tip-in, I don't know if you saw in the video, he just sprints right for the Central York fans.
I did. I mean, the video I watched, like, he just kind of disappears because he ran out. I was like, where did he go?
I think as soon as he saw Eli Brooks throws up a last-second heave, and it clearly wasn't going in. So once he saw the trajectory of the ball, he just took off. And Spring Grove fans weren't happy about that. They're not the biggest fans of Wagner, as I think we're putting up a story soon on that. But it's, Wagner, he's a lot of emotion. I think he's a really good kid. He plays the game great, so it's hard to really dislike him just because he's very passionate about the game.
Right. Now, obviously, we don't know a ton about the teams in other districts,
Right.
but do you see Central as a team that can, A, win a championship on Saturday, a district title, and B, actually make some serious noise in states?
It's going to be hard to win a district title. Now, they're the number 1 seed, so you can't count them out. But they're playing number 2 seed Reading, who we caught a glimpse of in their win over Wilson in the semis. And they're very athletic, very quick, fast. They got a lot of size. 2 6'5" starters, including this kid I was telling you about earlier, Lonnie Walker, one of the top-rated kids in the whole state of Pennsylvania. I think he's a top 25 kid in the whole country. He's a junior. He's got offers from Nova, Miami, Louisville's looking at him. So he's one of the top players around. And really, no one on Central has the size and quickness to match up with him. So I think he's going to go off. So, I mean, you never say never. I'll give Central a fighting chance, but I think they are kind of the underdog in this one.
Yeah, Matt sent me a video of this kid. His teammate threw a alley-oop off the backboard, and he slammed it. I mean, it looked like something out of an NBA game. So, yeah, he's going to be a lot to deal with. They're going to have their hands full.
And as for states, I mean, it's always hard to tell because you get these really tough matchups in states. But Central is one of the best teams from our area, so they could definitely win a few games. I don't think winning a state title is going to be really tough, but I think they could go on a run. They're a good team.
You never know who you're going to get matched up with. Maybe you get matched up with a team from a district that, maybe made a little bit of a Cinderella run, maybe isn't the greatest team. Maybe it's just a weak district. Like, you really just never know, But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. Central's not going to be the only team there. Spring Grove's going to be in the mix too.
Right, they're still in states, and they're another team. Like, they were the number 4 seed in districts, and they're so close to as good as Central York is. They beat them once. I know the season series is 3-1 Central York, but like I said, 194 to 193 is the total scores all added up. So they're so evenly close that they're another team. They get some good matchups. They could win some games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Spring Grove, obviously, with Eli Brooks.
He's one of the best players in the whole state.
They have a chance against a lot of people. Another team having a really great season, Eastern York, is going to face Bishop McDevitt tonight in the District 3 3A title game. That's one of the games that our other fellow Game Time reporters are going to be at. Obviously, Matt and I don't see a whole lot of Eastern being out in the western part of the county, but I think you have seen Eastern at least once this season.
I saw them destroy Gettysburg, and Gettysburg's a decent team.
Yeah, Gettysburg, we're going to talk about them next. They're going to states too, so Eastern York clearly has a pretty good team. What about them makes them so tough?
Well, they've won 19 of their last 21, so they're very, very deep. But they're, very hot, but they're also very deep. Brogan Nicholas is one of the best players in the whole league. He's averaging 18 a game, but Jared Achterberg averages 12 a game, so he's a good complementary player there. Jared Woods, Evan Springer, when they get kind of everyone going, they're just firing on all cylinders. Because when you have depth in, especially the York League, but even in districts, that goes a long way. And they've already beaten Milton Hershey, who was the top seed in districts, to get here. So if you can beat the top seed, you got to give them a chance against Bishop McDevitt.
Yeah, and that wasn't even the toughest game they had in terms of how difficult it was for them to win. The game against Elko that they won by one. Crazy finish. I watched the video at the end of that game too. So they've shown they can win the close game, but they can also come out against the top seed and beat them pretty soundly.
And it's pretty disappointing. Bishop McDevitt was supposed to play Central York early this year, the mid-Penn York-Adams mashup that we had, and that got canceled because of the snow. And Central beat Eastern York in the York-Adams playoff, so that would have been kind of cool if we'd seen how Central York did against them. You kind of say, well, how's Eastern going to do against them now? Right. So, but at the same time, now we don't know, so it adds kind of more intrigue to the game there. But I give Eastern York a fighting chance.
Yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. Make sure you follow Brandon and Christian and Teddy on Twitter. I'm not sure exactly who's going to be bringing the best updates from that one, but just follow everybody. Follow everybody. You'll get the best stuff. I'm sure videos as well. We talked about Spring Grove, who's still going to states despite the loss. Gettysburg's also still going to states. They're playing in a 6th place game, right?
Yeah.
Is that tonight?
Yeah, that is tonight. They got Elko.
Okay, Elko, who we just talked about, almost beat Eastern York. So, Gettysburg, no matter what happens, Gettysburg's going to states. They went to states last season.
And very same situation now. They were the 11 seed last year and snuck in the states. They were a 10 seed this year, had a big win in the first round. They really then they lost their second round game, but they, like we said, they beat Calico, which was all they needed to do to get the states. So, very weird year for this Gettysburg team. They were 12-8 after the regular season. They had 2 3-game losing streaks in the regular season, especially the end of the season, too. So just when they're hot, they've got Max Lampy's a very good shooter. Marquise Camel's a good guard. Ray Von Diller, one of the more athletic kids around. He can jump out of the building. So they have weapons. They just have not been consistent. So, they lost by, I think it was 48 points to Newman Goretti in the state tournament last year in their one game. That was a great team.
Newman Goretti is a very, very strong program.
So maybe they'll get a better matchup this time around. But they're definitely a Cinderella type story.
Yeah, and winning tonight would help get a better matchup,
definitely.
Obviously. The only other team I believe that's still in the mix is York Country Day School, who we've definitely talked about on this show, undefeated and having a really great season, faces Greenwood in the title game tomorrow. Greenwood is the 10 seed, I believe, in that bracket. So York Country Day definitely has a good shot, at winning a district title. And then who knows what could happen in states. This team has not lost a game yet. And Brandon did a pretty good little feature story that you can find on the website about how they've kind of turned their program around.
And they've got a couple kids, Jordan Ray and Darius Brown, who came over from Northeastern, and that's a very good program over there. So that's talent that you don't always see in Class A in this area. So that's definitely helped them. But they've won their first 2 games in districts, 60-39 and 60-32. So they're blowing teams out right now. Greenwood lost 7 of their last 9 in the regular season. They were 13-12. They're still 13-12 overall. So not the team you expected to be here right now. They're definitely going to be a huge underdog.
But maybe a team that found something, figured something out in this tournament has now won 3 in a row to get here, right? So who knows? But, it's interesting that a couple weeks from now, the only team left that we might be talking about in the air is York Country Day. So definitely interesting. Definitely keep an eye on them. We usually don't pay a ton of attention to Class A in this area just because we don't have that many schools. But if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, check in and see how they're doing. We got a lot of girls teams left too, and we're gonna come back after the break and talk about them. Stay with us.
Catholic girls go for an unprecedented 11th straight District 3 AA title tonight at 6 in a rematch of last year's 63-50 thriller with Camp Hill. Then the Eastern boys, fresh off their upset of top seed Milton Hershey, take on Bishop McDevitt for AAA gold. I'm Ron Ruman. Andy Bria and I have all the action courtside from the Giant Center in Hershey. If you can't be there, be here for Championship Thursday on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Did you know that Shipley Energy can take care of all your energy needs? From heating oil and propane to providing your home with electricity and natural gas. We also provide heating and air conditioning service and installation. All of your energy needs are under one roof at Shipley Energy. To learn more, visit ShipleyEnergy.com. Call 855-4-SHIPLEY and don't forget to ask about our $100 rebate. Shipley Energy. Energy for life.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the Square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome to today's York College Spartan Sports Scoreboard, brought to you by OSS Health. The women's basketball team won a thriller to open the CAC tournament on Tuesday night. Katie Wagner provided the game-winning basket with 11.2 seconds left. Wagner turns and drives off the glass, and it's good! 10 seconds left! 54-52 York! Katie Wagner gives York the lead. The Spartans would finish it with a defensive stop. Alvanos into McLaughlin, forced it off the glass, rebound Keaty, and that's it! And advancing to Thursday night's semifinals at Marymount. We'll have the webcast on WOYK1350.com beginning at 6 p.m. Women's lacrosse hosts Franklin and Marshall on Wednesday at 3:30. That's your Spartan Sports Scoreboard, brought to you by OSS Health. Orthopedic experience you can trust. Visit online at OSSHealth.com.
Hi, I'm West York boys basketball coach Bill Ackerman. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
We are back on Game Day with GameTime PA, and we're talking about girls basketball now. We spent a lot of time talking about the boys teams that are left. Now we're going to go into the girls teams that are left. There's about 7 or 8 of them. We start with DeLone Catholic, who made state several years in a row up until losing in the third place game last year. I was there. It was a big disappointment, especially with it being Maddie Comley's last season. She was a real star who's playing up at Fairleigh Dickinson now and starting actually. DeLone Catholic stuck in another third place game tonight against Wyomissing. It's going to be there. It's at 8 p.m. up at East Pennsboro. Same gym where the Squirettes fell last season. Let's start with their semifinal game, though, against Camp Hill. Second year in a row, the Squirettes have lost to Camp Hill in the district semifinals. What did you see at that one?
Honestly, and Camp Hill was a top seed, but DeLone started off a little slow. They had a lot of calls against them early on. The girls were clearly getting upset. Allie Shipley had to come out for a little bit because she had 2 fouls on her, spent most of the first half on the bench. That's always going to hurt you. But they actually finished the first half pretty well. They were up at halftime 22-16. And in the third quarter, Camp Hill goes on a few runs because they've got some great players. And DeLone weathers the storm. They go into the fourth up by 1 still. And I was thinking they had a good chance because even though the lead went from, I think, 6-1, they'd taken some runs and taken it in stride and kind of hung with them. And then in the fourth, they just kind of lost it all together. And they ended up losing by 10.
You know, it's interesting you brought up the calls going against them because I know last year in their semifinal loss to Camp Hill, which was in overtime, it might have even been 2 overtimes. I know there were some calls that really did not go their way that they were upset about. And honestly, I kind of saw it carry over into the third place game where they were playing Trinity tight, had a couple of calls not go their way, and just really, kind of mentally melted down. How could this be happening again to us? You could kind of see it on a lot of their faces. Is that something you think is a concern this year? Or you think this year's team can kind of shake it off a little better?
I mean, it has to be a concern. I asked Coach Gary Eckenrode afterwards if that hurt them just in the last game, the early fouls, and he just went, it didn't help. So, I mean, when you come so close to beating a team, like you're winning in the fourth quarter, you're going to be ticked off going into the next game. So you just got to focus and think, if we're going to get states, we need to focus on this game. That was the thing that Eckenrode said. He goes, I want to coach into March. I want my season to continue. It's up to the girls. Do they want their season to continue? And we'll find out tonight.
Yeah, and they got some seniors, too. It's not just their season. It's their high school careers to continue. I mean, Katie Lockman, Lily Singleton, Allie Shipley, the three of them have been a big, big part of the Squire Reds program. And, you'd hate to see it end. Here, you at least want to see them get to states. I mean, they went to states for volleyball, though Shipley doesn't play volleyball, but the other two girls, kind of had a tearful, heartbreaking end to that one. And, I mean, for us, as we get to know people around the community, I mean, we kind of want to see them. I don't know a whole lot about Wyomissing.
Neither do I.
But, a lot of it's going to come down.
Great record. They're 21-4. And DeLone's 18-7. So
right. I mean, DeLone's had a pretty tough schedule.
Right.
They've stepped up and they've played Red Lion and York Suburban and some of those teams, New Oxford. Some very good teams that are not in 2A at all. I don't know if Wyomissing has that kind of experience. I really think that the injury to Jill Novak has hurt DeLone this season. And I was telling you this in the office earlier. Not just that she's a good player, but I think it was a kind of a big drop off from her being a 6'5", very talented player in the middle to going with Katie Apgar, who came out of her shell, and Brandy Zumbrum, who, are still younger players, developing players. It's not that they're not good players or won't be good players, but it's just their game isn't quite there yet. And there's nobody else to really plug into that position on DeLone. But you've been saying, you've seen them going to the bench a little more often.
Oh, yeah, they go 9 deep. They go with Zumbrum, Riley Vinkson, who I think she started early in the year. Now she's come with the bench.
Yeah, she started earlier in the year. She's a freshman. I've been very impressed with her. I think she's going to be a good player for them for 4 years.
They do have some players to go to. And like we talked about Katie Apgar before, I was talking to Allie Shipley about her after the Linden Hall game, and she just goes, it's all in her head with her. She has all the talent to be great. She just needs to make sure if she misses one shot, she doesn't get too down on herself. So hopefully she can, kind of get back to where she was against Linden Hall tonight. But DeLone, I looked into it last night. They were in the state playoffs from 2009 through 2014. It was only last year they didn't make it.
Oh, yeah, it was expected. I mean, it was kind of a shock that they weren't moving on last year.
So that's why Coach Eckenrode wants it so bad. He's used to taking a team to the States every year. He's not used to going home after district. So, he wants this win, and like he says, it's up to the girls because he was not happy with the way they played in the fourth quarter of their last game. Now, it's a top seed, Camp Hill. They challenged them for 3 quarters, but he wanted that win. He knew that they had the chance to do it. So he is definitely motivated for this game. It's just a matter of are the players.
Right. Now, Camp Hill with the win is going to be playing York Catholic. Right. That game's tonight also. I've been mentioning our GameTime PA team that's up at the Giant Center. That's another game they're going to be keeping an eye on. Kate Bayhoff went off for 41 against Wyomissing, which also makes you think, maybe Allie Shipley or somebody can really, really get going and have a really big night against Wyomissing because, clearly it's possible for one player to score a ton of points against them. But you haven't seen York Catholic this year, have you? Okay, well, they're going for their 11th straight title. But you have seen Camp Hill, obviously, who they're playing. So what's tough about Camp Hill?
Very deep team, and they can shoot the 3, and they've got some size. Leah Springer is a senior forward for them. She's 6 feet tall, very athletic. She's quick. She moves with the ball well. She had a very nice game on Monday when I saw them. And they've got 2 sisters, Diamond and Passion Bragg. Fantastic names.
Very cool names.
But they were all over the court. Diamond was out for a little bit in the first half, which was kind of when DeLone went on their run. She had some foul trouble at the same time Allie Shipley did. Okay. When she came back in the fourth quarter, they just took over the game. And that's what Eckenrode said. He was like, when push came to shove, their 2 best players, Springer and Diamond Bragg, they just took over the game. So if those guys get hot, York Catholic's really going to have to watch out for them.
Yeah, I mean, York Catholic, obviously, Kate Bayhoff, arguably the best player in our area, and she's only a sophomore. Having a heck of a season. So, it might come down to her and some of the better players. But honestly, I think when I saw York Catholic earlier in the year, it was kind of, I think there was a lot of standing around watching, what's Kate going to do? Kate was the only returning starter. A lot of girls still kind of finding their roles, finding their way. When I saw them, though, 4 weeks later against the same team, on the road, too. I mean, I saw them play at home against DeLone Catholic, lose in overtime. Then I saw them go on the road and, I mean, really just beat DeLone Catholic very soundly. This team has really come a long, long way. It's not a mystery why
You win 10
Coach
straight.
Kevin Bankos has won 10 straight.
Yeah.
He's obviously a very, very good coach. These girls are growing into their roles. I know they were a little banged up earlier in the year. Some girls got healthy. Emily Laszlo really is kind of the unsung hero.
Right.
I mean, she scores a lot of points, but I think she grabs a lot of rebounds and does things that maybe don't get all the credit. You know, this team, they clearly know
how
what's
to
at
win.
stake. Yeah, I mean, this program knows how to win. These girls have come a long way. You know, everyone looks comfortable. You know, the passing is crisp, and it's really opened things up. And that's why Bayhoff scored 40-plus points a couple times.
Someone's
Because
gotta get
now
the ball.
you have to worry about other people,
Yeah.
too. It's not just her anymore. So that sounds like it's going to be a pretty
Right.
good game. York Catholic beat Camp Hill last year. I mean, 11 titles in a row, if it happens, is quite the number.
And when you're at the high school level, I don't like to think too much like, oh, they won 10 straight, so they're definitely going to win this year. Because like you said, they replaced 4 starters. So it's a
Right,
different
exactly.
team. But when you have that sort of tradition, you can't just ignore it. Because clearly, Coach Benkos knows how to preach to his girls and get them to play good in big spots. Because they play big in good spots every year.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a confidence thing, too, is, you know, we were here last year, maybe not these exact girls, but a lot of them were probably on the bench watching,
Right.
maybe got in a little here and there. You know, we can do it. And for Camp Hill, it's in your head, you know, this is, you know, who's going to beat York Catholic? That's got to be in your mind.
It definitely is.
Another interesting game tonight, Central York Red Lion playing for the 4th time this season. They split during the regular season. Red Lion won in the York Adams Championship game. A little bit of a disappointment, the fact that this game is for 7th place. This is not a district championship. This is not for district 3rd, even though they were the 3rd and 4th seeds, right? This is for 7th. And actually, the way the bracket shakes out on the girls' side, only the top 7 go to state. So this is somebody's season is ending tonight.
And it's cool in one way. Like we talked about the Spring Grove Central, how they've played 4 times. And now it's like sort of a similar situation. The York Adams title game teams play each other again. But this time there's so much at stake because one's going home. So in that way, it's cool. But at the same point, you would kind of think that those 2 teams would both be making the states.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a letdown, but at the same time, it's exciting. You know, I don't know how
Yeah.
the girls are reacting to it, but it's like, I don't know, like it loses some of its excitement for me because it's for 7th place. But then again, it gains some back because it's states or no states.
You got to wonder what their mindset is like because of that. Like with Spring Grove and Central last night, they came into that game, or a couple nights ago, they were both so hot and so motivated because they've been playing really well lately. With these 2 teams, they are not playing their best basketball right now.
Yeah, both of them lost 2 in a row. That's how you end up in the 7th place game.
So, and of course, if you remember how that York Adams title game ended, it ended with Courtney Demoff hitting those 2 foul shots at the end, and then she picks off the pass with 2 seconds left, and she started jumping up and down. Might have been a travel call that they didn't call. We don't know if Central York's still bugged about that, but I'm sure they're still feeling a little motivated by losing by 1 point on last-second free throws.
Yeah,
so you know they're going to want to win this game.
For sure, and you kind of hope it's another close game. Just Spring Grove, Central York, it's like every time they step on the court, it's a close game. It's exciting, and it seems like these 2 teams kind of do the same thing. A couple other teams still alive. York Suburban is going to states. They're going to play in a 5th place game in 3A. Christian School of York lost the semifinal the other day. They will be playing for 3rd, but going to states no matter what down in Class A. When we come back, we're going to talk some wrestling. A lot of good basketball. We've talked about it, and a lot of good wrestling, too. You know I'm going to talk about it. We'll be back.
Flight 34 from LA to JFK was diverted. Passengers were in the bathroom for an unusually long time.
There is something called marital constipation.
The Steve Zabin Show on Yahoo Sports Radio is waking you up.
Steve Zabin.
Yes, sir.
Shut up.
You want to touch it? Go on. Gotta be careful, though.
It's time to wake up, America.
Join me, Steve Zabin, mornings at 6 on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Looking for something cool to do this weekend? Come to the coolest place in town and learn to play hockey or figure skate at the York Ice Arena. The York Ice Arena offers a Learn to Skate program for skaters of all ages and abilities, directed by ISA and USFSA qualified instructors. Skating classes range from beginner to freestyle. Hockey classes cover the basics of the game. All classes include free skate rental and 5 free skating passes, so you can try out your new skills. And remember, the coolest place in town is also available for the coolest birthday party in town. Host your birthday bash in group spaces or with a private ice rental. Public skating at the York Ice Arena is available afternoons, evenings, and weekends. Skate for just $7 and rent your skates for just $3. Plus, you can save with discount pass books. Oh, and ask about gift cards and kids' prepaid debit cards. So if you're looking to learn something cool, come to the coolest place in town and learn to skate at the York Ice Arena. For more information and to register, go to yorkskate.com.
Payne doesn't take Sunday off. Neither do we. We're open weekdays 8 to 8 and weekends 9 to 6. Just walk into WellSpan Urgent Orthopedics, 2319 South George Street in York, across from the Apple Hill Health Campus. Visit wellspan.org/urgent orthopedics today.
Getting pumped for another year of high school basketball? Tune in to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK as we lay it all out for you in the High School Basketball Spotlight. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. Catch a preview every day this month leading up to tip-off on Sports Radio 1350. We'll break down the teams and the players of this year's York Adams League. Or go to WOYK1350.com for this year's complete lineup of high school basketball previews. And this winter, catch 2 games a week, including the High School Basketball Game of the Week every Friday. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine and only here on Sports Radio 1350.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Mike check.
Dan Patrick.
He's Ben Roethlisberger. Heinz Ward told me that he would lie to stay on the field. So he said, "Look, it's our job to deceive to get back in there." Have you done it?
Yeah, I have. I think I did a lot more when I was younger. I think now with all the stuff coming out and all these players and the things that are happening, I think the awareness has been raised, the level has been raised. So I think it happens less frequently. But I think for the most part, players are taking it very serious when it's a pretty good bell ring.
Are you hit differently now than, say, first 2 years in the league?
In what ways? Like, are defenders hitting me different because of the rules?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I've always taken, it's good and it's bad. I think that officials have allowed play to kind of play on a little bit. I don't think their whistle's quite as quick with me.
I love it.
The Dan Patrick Show.
On Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Joseph Picatus of Gettysburg Wrestling. The sophomore won the 132-pound title at Saturday's Section 5 AAA tournament, becoming the first Warrior wrestler to win a title since 2010. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Katie Apgar of DeLone Catholic Basketball. Not typically one of the Squirettes' top scorers, Apgar scored 8 of her 12 points in less than 2 minutes in a district win versus Linden Hall. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Ray Jensen.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com. The York College Spartans play here. Catch York College basketball all season on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Your home for York's home teams.
And now a steal at the other end. Wagner picks one away, a foot race, and lays home another one. Dribbles foul line, a jump pass down to Shea, and she has 10.
The spot for the Spartans. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. Your teams all the time. York's only place for local sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Back. Game day with GameTime PA here just on the live stream today. And we've gone through the boys basketball, a lot of big games, gone through the girls basketball, a lot of big games. And now we go to wrestling, which has districts coming up this weekend. District 3 championships, Class 2A, Class 3A. It's a big weekend. Class 3A, top 4 are going to states.
Zach's in his wheelhouse right now. He's excited.
Totally. I'm ready to go. It's huge for Class 3A because the top 4 go to states. No matter what happens. In 2A, it's a little more complicated. The top 5 in each weight class are going to go to regionals next week. The top 6 from regionals there go to states. Really, honestly, regionals ends up being a little bit of a formality in this area because District 3 is so strong in wrestling that a lot of, if you're top 5 in District 3, you're probably going to be top 6 in the Southeast region. But, let's start with Austin Claybaugh, who we kind of mentioned early on. Definitely an interesting story for him this season. He's wrestling at 120 pounds this postseason for Bermudian Springs. He's been a big part of their lineup for a couple of years. I mean, he won a sectional title at 106 a couple of years ago. he went all the way to states actually and won a couple matches. He went 2-2 at states last year at 120 pounds, going at that same weight again this year. And his mom passed away very suddenly from a heart attack early this season. Actually, the day he was going to wrestle in the semifinals at Cumberland Valley, ended up having to leave, go back and see his mom in the hospital after he'd seen her collapse in the morning.
Yeah.
Very sad for him, but the team has really rallied around him. I know they were there for him that weekend, when it happened, have been behind him every step of the way, and he's gone and had just an absolutely
amazing
sensational season. He technically has 4 losses, but three of them came because he forfeited a semifinal match at that tournament on that day, and then both of his consolation matches. He really just has 1 loss.
Yeah, which is incredible.
And that's to a 3A wrestler.
Right.
So, and he won his sectional title on Saturday by beating Jalen Hankerson, who has turned into a little bit of a rivalry. It's kind of a weird rivalry, though, because Hankerson hasn't actually won.
Clayball's actually kind of dominating this rivalry, right?
Well, I mean, you can call it dominating. I don't know if I'd say that, even though he's won all 3.
He did pin him last time, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, you were at the match, and that's probably the one that
was a close match, yeah.
Clayball wrestled probably his best match in that one, because he was ahead the whole way pretty
Right.
much, right? Second time around, a few days later, when they were facing Boiling Springs again in the team playoffs, he was down 4-0 to Hankerson in second period, and then, turned him and boom, pin. And what happened in this one on Saturday is he was down early, kind of made a little bit of a comeback, finally got a takedown in the third period, and was able to turn Hankerson and pin him with a few seconds left. Really, Clayball's really tough on top, always has been. He's gotten better from the neutral position this year, something he's really been working on. But, he's tough on top, and Hankerson really wrestled to not end up on bottom. He was wrestling pretty smart. He kind of came in with a different strategy on Saturday, but Clayball ended up getting on top of him late in the match, turned him and stuck him. And so, I don't know if they're going to end up facing this week. They're going to be on opposite ends of the bracket. I know there's a pretty good wrestler from Lancaster Catholic who's going to be in the bracket that Clayball, should he get to the final, may very well be facing in the final. Joe Lobeck is his name. And Clayball wants a shot at him too. Clayball lost to him a couple of years ago, hasn't faced him in a while. He knows now he can beat Hankerson, so can he beat Lobeck now is the next question.
I think you talked about in your story how much his mom meant to him on the wrestling side, how she supported his career. So this would mean a lot to him to do it for her, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's dedicating a season to her. Like Matt said, I wrote this story. It's on GameTimePA.com. It came out a week ago, but you can easily find it in the wrestling section. Yeah, I mean, his mom used to drive him everywhere for wrestling. And when I mean everywhere, I don't just mean in Pennsylvania. They went to Virginia Beach duels. They went down to Disney duels down in Orlando. I mean, she drove him absolutely everywhere. He's incredibly appreciative of it, probably even more so now.
Of course.
Now that it's gone. And so, yeah, he wants to dedicate the season to her. And really, there's a palpable excitement when he's wrestling, because the way the team's rallied around him and all the other parents and coaches is, they all want to see him succeed so bad. He's got a lot of friends that come out too, friends from the field hockey team. I see them up in the stands, and he wants it so bad, and they all want it so badly for him. And it makes for, when he's in those close matches, it makes for some exciting wrestling because there's so many people out there rooting for him.
This is
how could you not?
Obviously such a hard time for him, but when you talk to him, like, what kind of sense of his personality do you get from him?
He's a wrestler, so he's tough.
Right.
And, obviously it's been difficult for him, more than he probably let on to me, but he's just trying to make the most of what he can do. And he's appreciative of, everybody that's around him. And, he wants to, he wants it for himself, but he kind of wants it for his mom and for everybody else. And so I can definitely tell, compared to watching him wrestle last year, that it means a little more to him.
Yeah.
He does, and I talk about this in the story, he says a little prayer on the edge of the mat before he starts wrestling. And so it's, it's a little different. And maybe you don't notice if you're not paying attention to it, but when you're aware of it, you really do notice. And so, this is a huge weekend for him. I mean, probably not going to be an issue whether he advances to regionals or not, but, a district championship's a big deal in District 3, and that's probably going to mean either another win against Hankerson or a win against Lobeck. Probably it's going to come down to him and Lobeck, and for him, that's going to be huge if it happens.
Yeah, it's been an amazing story thus far, and we'll see how that story finishes. But it's been a great ride so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's not the only one, going for a district title. He's far from it. We got 14 weight classes in 2 different tournaments. He's got some teammates. Landon West won a sectional title. He went to districts last year. Didn't do a whole lot, but he's got a move. He calls it a spadle. He's got it working, and he does it every time. It's like, you can set your clock to it. He's gonna whip some kid around on the spadle.
Is that how you describe a spadle, whipping the kid around?
I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I'm not super technical, but all I see is he gets a takedown and all of a sudden, boom, he kind of flips over and he's got a kid in serious trouble. A lot of times it ends up with a pin. He hasn't lost in a while. He's going to be going for a district title. He's in pretty good shape. He's a 106-pounder, a little guy. Then on the far end of the spectrum, Brady Linebaugh is a heavyweight. He went to states last season. He won a district title last season, I believe, and so he's going to be going for his second. Right. So he's got it working. Had a really good postseason last year, and it's Bermudian Springs. They got a bunch of guys. Noah Fleshman is a very strong 170-pounder. They've Darren Beal, Jared Miller, 132 and 138 guys who were both sectional runner-ups, just like Fleshman. So, they're guys who can definitely advance to regionals. If they really show up for districts, and even maybe even if they don't completely show up, I think they're still going to be okay for regionals. A couple other guys who won sectional titles who repeated. Nate Newberry, who finished 7th last year at states, he looks to be picking up where he left off. He won another sectional title. Caleb Garland from Hanover only has 1 loss on the year. Kind of gets forgotten during the regular season. Yeah, because Hanover is not winning a lot of dual meets. But, I mean, he's a really, really tough kid. He was telling me that he kind of struggled last season cutting weight for the postseason, that he was just kind of doing it the wrong way. He was running. He wasn't eating right. He was sitting in the sauna every day after practice.
That's such a hard thing to do, cut weight. That's the one thing I'm glad I never wrestled, because I respect these wrestlers so much, but cutting weight is such a hard thing to do. Yeah, it's got to
be brutal. And this time of year, too, when you're trying to wrestle at your best, now you're doing it with less mass on you. A lot of these guys have bumped down a weight class, and he did. He's one of those that did that. But this year he said he's got a diet plan. He's eating right. He's not.
Well, you need energy to do this. And if you're just starving yourself and you have no energy when you're taking the mat, that's not a good thing.
So, he said he feels different this year because he won a sectional title last year. Then he ended up getting 4th at districts. He made it out of regionals, made it to states, but it just wasn't, I don't think he thought, and I don't think his coach thought they got the most out of him last year. Seems like that might change this year.
Do we have any other guys like that, maybe from a team that we don't hear about a lot, that are going to have good individual run, or is it mostly guys from the big teams who are going on runs?
No, there's always a few. Dakota Mackley from Eastern York, who's another guy who kind of quietly went to states last year, placed 3rd or 4th at districts, made it through regionals, got to states, but didn't get a whole lot of attention because his teammate Lucas Barshinger, Connor's his little brother. Lucas went to states and ended up medaling 6th, I believe, in his weight class. So Dakota kind of flew under the radar, but he's going to be there this season. He beat Fleshman, actually pinned Fleshman in the 170-pound final at sectionals. So, yeah, Mackley is another guy to keep an eye on from a school that doesn't get a whole lot of attention. And up in 3A, I mean, this is where district gets really real, is in 3A. And New Oxford had an okay season as a team, not great, but Storm is there. He's undefeated. He missed the last few weeks with an injury, but he looks to be okay after sectionals. He's back. But, man, he's going to have his hands full against this kid from Exeter Township. If he gets to the final, Austin DeSanto from Exeter, I saw him wrestle against Spring Grove during the team tournament. My God, this kid is an animal.
Wow.
He tech-falled Chance Jackson, I think, from Spring Grove. Whoever he faced from Spring Grove, he tech-falled him 21-5. I'm not sure it even got to the second period. It was that ridiculous.
Tech falls pins are great, but the tech fall is almost worse than getting pinned in some way, because when you get pinned, it's over right away, and that's embarrassing if you get
but it's
pinned.
You get pinned, maybe you made a mistake and got pinned. But
tech fall is just you're getting just beat over and over again. You have no answer for the moves they're putting on.
Yeah, tech fall is you're just getting manhandled. You're getting taken down. You're getting put on your turn for a little bit for a near fall. You're getting stood back up. Just they're giving you that point out of courtesy, because they just want to get more points. You're not earning that escape most of the time. They're just letting you up.
Do you see any weight classes that are particularly tough for the kids in our area?
I think 120 is going to be tough. I think heavyweight's always tough because, there are definitely teams that don't necessarily have a lot of good wrestlers that have a good heavyweight, and for whatever reason, a lot of good teams sometimes don't have a heavyweight. But for heavyweight, actually the section that the York Adams guys are in gets an extra guy for heavyweight because just the way it shakes out, the way sectionals work out. The top 3 advance to districts except for a few weight classes where you might get 4. That's how they get it up to 16. So we have 4 guys there from York Adams area. Blaney Yinger from Northeastern, he's at the top of the bracket. He's the 1 seed. But Jared Schell, who honestly might be one of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers of all from Red Lion, he ended up injury defaulting in the final last week, but he's going to be there. And Michael Wolfgram from Central is a freshman, having a heck of a season as a heavyweight.
Well, I was about to say, freshman heavyweight. You don't see that much.
Yeah, and Chris Capella, who we work with, is the coach in Central's room. And I haven't actually seen Wolfgram wrestle. I haven't seen Central wrestle at all. But from what I hear is he's a very in-shape heavyweight is the reason he's been able to do well. Is he can outlast some of these guys. I mean, he's very technically sound, very good, but he's also in great shape, and that's how he's able to last.
I was thinking that when you talk about how a lot of good teams don't have great heavyweights and teams may not be great have good ones. It's such an X factor weight, at the college level, because it's so hard to find a guy with that body mass who's still in shape. I guess it's 285 is the weight limit, correct?
Is the limit, yeah.
So, I mean, and most of these kids, even if you're around 250, 260, it's hard to find a high school kid like that who is still tough and muscular, not just,
right, and a lot of these guys get worn out. They're football players. They're linemen that you find, and, they're pretty big and strong, and they're okay wrestlers, but they can't stay in it with a really good wrestler, And it's a tough, I mean, in the college ranks, that's usually the weight that you end on. In these high school meets start at different weights, but in college it comes down to these guys who, you never know. Heavyweight is just such a different, it's a different style too. It's not a lot of scoring. It's more, who can get that first takedown and ride a guy out.
I went to Penn State, and when I covered their wrestling team, a lot of times, because they would win bigs all the time, one of the most dominant programs around, the fans would be leaving the building by the time heavyweight rolled around because, 1, they wanted to beat the traffic, but 2, it was just like the match is over, and it's just be 2 big guys kind of moving slowly around with each other. Not always the most exciting match.
It's kind of not as exciting. There's not as much points. If you like scoring in wrestling, that's not what it is. It's going to be, hey, can one guy get an escape and the other guy get a ride out, That's what it comes down to a lot of times. So, and speaking of Penn State, real quick, I did go up to see Jordan Conaway wrestle.
Very jealous of you for that. But
the former New Oxford state champion, for the only state champion in New Oxford history. You never know. Maybe it becomes 2 this year with Storm, but the only champion in school history so far, Jordan Conaway. He ended up his home career for Penn State. He's wrestling at 133 this year. He's ranked number 5 in the country. Still has Big Ten championships left. Still has
Nationals All-American
left.
last year.
Yeah, All-American last year. He won, helped Penn State win the national duels title, ended his Rec Hall career with a win. I know Matt covered Penn State wrestling for a few years, so he knows what Rec Hall is all about.
A lot of people have called Conaway. I actually saw this on Twitter when you were at that match. Someone tweeted out that he's the grittiest Penn State athlete that they've seen the past couple of years, just athlete in general. The way he's not really the most heralded Penn State wrestler that they've had the past couple of years. They've some of the best wrestlers in the history of the sport. But he's a kid. He had a starting spot a few years ago, lost it, got it back last year. Just a kid with a lot of perseverance. As you know, very humble guy. But at the end of the year, you look and he's got a great record. So he's had a great career. He's definitely made his hometown proud.
I mean, he's had an interesting career. He was supposed to go to Liberty to wrestle, but Liberty dropped the program, and he went to Penn State instead. So
I think it was a good career move for him. He got to be a part of a couple national championship teams and be an All-American as an individual.
He walked on, but he's been starting in that starting lineup for a few years. So, he's having a great career. He's got not a lot, but some big meets left for wrestling. A lot of good wrestling this weekend. You can follow me on Twitter. Obviously, we didn't get to everything. 14 weight classes in 2 different tournaments. We only touched on a few of the kids, but there's definitely more kids that could go to states and make some noise that we didn't even mention here. Follow me on Twitter for updates. Follow Matt on Twitter for updates tonight from the girls basketball game. See if DeLone can get back to states after a disappointment last season. And we will see you next week here on Game Day with GameTime PA. Thanks for listening.
First in York, first in sports. Your only local sports station. The new Sports Radio 1350, WOYK, York, Pennsylvania.